Alright, I'm making this video because I've been hearing a lot of people talk shit about Zoro on the internet after his fight with King, saying he's just as strong as Sanji, or that some people are saying that Sanji's stronger than Zoro. Fuck that. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 reasons we all love Zoro, just to get a little bit of good vibes out there for my boy, okay? The number 1 reason we love Zoro is because of his drive, his will, his dream to be the best swordsman of all time, or the best swordsman in the world at the moment. It's just a real relatable goal, you know? Like anybody who's ever played a sport or video games wants to be the best. Ever since he showed up at Shimotsuki Village Dojo, he challenged the master and said, bitch, I'm gonna be the best swordsman, and if I beat you, I'm taking over this dojo. Obviously, he was in for a big lesson, got his ass whooped by Kuina, but through that defeat and through the rivalry that she created with him, and then eventually, unfortunately, her death, that only pushed him to be better and better, just developing his 3-sword style, which is ridiculous. 3 swords, 1 in the mouth, doesn't make any sense, but he really made it badass, like instead of just being some kind of gimmick. Later on, we see his will tested when he actually goes up against the then greatest swordsman in the world, Mihawk, who is just a fucking badass, floating around on a little teeny boat with his giant cross black blade. And when Zoro challenges him, he very nonchalantly pulls out his little dagger, his little knife. I mean, that's fucking embarrassing, bro. Like, so anyway, Mihawk fighting him with his little teeny dagger, little teeny knife, just utterly fucks up Zoro. There's no chance. It just shows how far he is from his goal. So that just makes us excited. It shows he's gonna be on this journey for a long time. I mean, so are we. We get to be on this journey a long time, and we get to see how far he can go. And yeah, it's exciting to see him get back up, try again, and start fucking shit up from then on. And speaking of which, right after this, or shortly after this fight, when he's in Alabasta, he gets his opportunity to push past his limits and live up to his dream, or at least make small advances towards his goal by fighting Das Bones, right? In this fight, he has a chance to do something he's never done before. Cut steel. He feels like if he can get past this, of course, eventually he's gonna have to do this. He's gonna be able to need to cut anything. And what's standing in front of him is a super hard opponent, a master assassin, very deadly person who can turn his whole body into a sword. So Zoro overcoming that was not only just one of the coolest fights, just a really good moment for him to get towards his goal of being the best. Another fight that I want to highlight to kind of bring together this whole thing about his dream and his will and his goals is his fight with Ryuma. But not only is it one of the most visually badass fights, it's also just as far as, you know, him achieving his goals, he's acknowledged by the past, by a legendary samurai who has achieved the status of turning a blade black, which we'll learn the significance of later on in the story. And he is personally acknowledged and then given the black blade of that person to kind of carry on his will. Like, yeah, I acknowledge you. Yeah, young buck, you got that, you know? I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead, take my sword, go fuck some dragons up and shit. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I mean, he took that sword a long way too. After he got that sword, I mean, it was almost like nobody could touch Zoro. He was fucking people up all over the place. He really just didn't struggle until he got to Shibuya, and you know, the Marines came after him, and he had to fight admirals and pacifistas. But I mean, everybody was getting fucked up by them, so that doesn't count. The second reason we really like Zoro is his camaraderie and, I would say, synergy with Luffy. He really is a good support, a good co-captain, or whatever you want to call him, to Luffy. Ever since the very first time they met. I mean, yeah, of course, he was a pirate hunter and Luffy was a pirate and he didn't want to have anything to do with him. But after Luffy went and got his swords, they clicked, you know? Like, right away, Luffy just knew Zoro was going to help him out have his back without even talking. And then Zoro turns around and says, Captain, to him. That was a good moment. I mean, that's really, really early on in the very, very beginning of One Piece. And it still makes me get chills. I'm like, oh, this pirate hunter who wouldn't have nothing to do with pirates, acknowledging Luffy as his captain and then going on his journey. And I mean, even proclaiming after his defeat with Mihawk that you deserve the best swordsman in the world. If you're going to be the king of the pirates, you deserve nothing less than the best swordsman in the world to be on your crew. And that he's doing that for Luffy. And another really important moment or impactful moment in One Piece, but in particular in Zoro and Luffy's relationship, is when Usopp was being a fucking asshole and decided he wanted to keep the merry-go, which everybody, pouring out for the merry-go, okay? For the going merry. It was sad. But you gotta move on. Luffy made his decision. Usopp wanted to be an asshole and decided he wanted to leave the crew. And Zoro said, look, if you're gonna, try to get him back, if you're gonna try to pull him back without him apologizing, I might be the next one to leave, And at first, when I heard that, I thought, man, like, that's kind of fucked up because, you're his first mate. You should have his back. But then, I mean, Usopp is the one disrespecting him as a captain. And in doing that, he's disrespecting the whole crew. You cannot disrespect the captain if everybody else is expected to respect him. You know what I mean? And then the captain go off and, oh, Usopp, I'm so sorry. No, fuck that. And Zoro was the main one who was firm on that, showing Luffy how to be a better captain. And I just thought that was a really impactful moment as well. And even when Luffy was ready to accept Usopp and Usopp was ready to come back, he was like, look, we're not even going to pull him on this boat unless the first thing he says out of his mouth is, I'm sorry. And then while Usopp is up there trying to make all these excuses, they act like they didn't hear him until he finally does say, I'm sorry. Third reason why we love Zoro is because of his sense of direction. Now it's become a meme at this point. I've seen memes that transcend even One Piece, where Zoro winds up being with other crews in other animes in the meme, and I think it's hilarious, but it's just a really cool gag that this person who's a badass, who doesn't really lose fights, he just fucks everybody up, cannot find his way to the bathroom if they are not with him. And it never gets old every single time. And a lot of times he finds himself in situations that just kind of create a tense atmosphere and a kind of a very funny situation, while it probably isn't very funny if you think about it. Like the one time he's in Djibouti and everybody's coming back at the time skip and Zoro wanders onto the wrong fucking ship. Come on, bro. Like, you don't know what the Sunny Go looks like? You just start taking a nap on somebody else's pirate ship? And then think about how they're feeling. Like, they're about to go to the new world. They got their ship coated. They did probably not as much as what Straw Hats did to get to where they are, but they did a lot. They traveled through the Grand Line. They built their crew. They got their ship. They're ready to go. Ships are not cheap. And Zoro fucking cuts the ship in half just so he can get back to the surface, ruining their dream, which is hilarious, but also very sad, but hilarious. And it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for that gag of him just wandering off into nowhere. It never gets old. I can't wait to see where he's gonna get lost in Elbaf when it comes to it, or how he's gonna get lost at the final war or some shit, and who he's gonna run into and fuck up in the process. Number 4 reason why we love Zoro is because of his relationship with Sanji. Now, this relationship, I don't know, it's hilarious. It's very toxic. I wouldn't even say they're friends, but I know they're friends. Like, I wouldn't say they're friends because of the way that they act. If anybody who didn't know anything about One Piece started reading a random assortment of pages, they would be like, okay, what the fuck? Like, these guys are gonna kill each other. But their rivalry is it's really funny. It's not a rivalry like Naruto Sasuke rivalry, where, they're just constantly going at it. They're literally gonna fight each other one day. I don't think they're ever gonna fight each other, besides with the little tiffs that they have, off in the background. But just them trying to outdo each other, you know, and Zoro has some girl on him, which Zoro doesn't even give a shit about having any women around him, and Sanji gets jealous and pissed off. Or when they're trying to run to a certain place and trying to beat each other to get there. It's just a really cool rivalry, and while they always talk shit to each other, I never get tired of it. It's always you know, just puts a smile on my face when I'm watching One Piece. It's just something that I really like watching. I think it's a really cool part of them as a crew. And if they weren't like that, or if all of a sudden they started becoming really good close friends, nah, throw that shit away, man. It's really deep too, because we get in one of these later chapters where Zoro, and this is spoilers for the last arc. Everybody who's only anime watchers, you're probably gonna get spoiled for just a couple of minutes, so maybe skip ahead. Zoro is fighting King, and Sanji is fighting Queen. And in this fight, while Sanji is down on himself and he believes, you know, he is becoming some kind of monster created by his father, which he doesn't want, he calls Zoro on the Dendemushi, which everybody's just got cell phones now in One Piece. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, you know, hey, at the end of this, if I'm not myself, I want you to put me down. Like, that takes a lot of trust. It takes trust in two ways. It takes trust in the fact that he knows he's gonna whoop King's ass, or he's gonna defeat King. That takes a lot of trust. He knows Zoro will not lose to King. He knows he will be there at the end of this. He knows he's gonna be there too. He says, at the end of this, put me down, not, you know, if I survive against Queen. So it's like really cool. They know they're gonna whoop each opponent's ass, but he's also trusting him to be able to kill him, you know? And not only to be able and capable of doing it, but having the heart to do it. And he didn't ask that to anybody else. He could have asked Luffy, maybe not talk to Luffy at the moment, because Luffy was going through some shit at the moment. But, you know, he really trusted Zoro to handle that for him. So, I mean, that says a lot. It says a lot more than just a silly back and forth. Like, there is obviously a deeper bond that they have. And honestly, I can't wait. It's gonna be funny as shit to see like an old Sanji and an old Zoro in the future just arguing with each other, still fucking super strong, destroying islands while they just have little tiffs. That'll be funny as hell. I can't wait to see it one day. And the fifth reason we all love Zoro is because he's a fucking badass, dude. Like, Zoro is the badass character in One Piece. Like, in the crew, that's what his role is. Luffy is the main character, Zoro is the badass. Like, on the surface level, dude with 3 swords, you know, like, that is just badass. I mean, it's really stupid, but the way he uses the swords, he's just gonna cut shit, just gonna fuck shit up. And he does not stop. He is a beast, like, literally. I think that, isn't his nickname the Green Beast? He is a beast. He does not stop. Nobody gets in his way. He cuts anything down in front of him. It doesn't seem to be bothered by anything that's happening around him. There could be any kind of terrible situation. They could be raided and he's just still napping or drunk or working out, just chilling. He's a badass, you know, and he's had so many great moments. Zoro versus Das Bones, which I mentioned before. Zoro's Demon Ashura, which a lot of people theorize that was the first time Zoro's ever used Conqueror's Haki. I don't know about that. But it was just badass, right? Seeing him split into 3 different versions and deliver that devastating blow to Kaku, which he didn't deserve it. He could have saved that to somebody else. That would have been badass. Well, I guess he only had 2 swords. He couldn't have done it against Ryuma, but that would have been badass to save for somebody else. I don't know. I feel like that ability was wasted on Kaku, and then he never even used it again for a fucking long ass time until he, spoiler, fought Kaido. And speaking of which, he fought against Kaido and Big Mom, deflected their combined attack. It was fucking amazing. Nobody was even did that. Everybody else decided to jump out of the way. Zoro was the only one who's like, fuck that! Just deflected it, and then turned around, sending an attack back to Kaido that actually left a lasting scar, which is, that's crazy. Who does that? Nobody. Only, well, one person before that we know of has done that, and that was Odin, who's also a badass. Just a disgusting person. He should not exist. And Zoro's like that. And he doesn't have any powers. He doesn't have any devil fruit. It's just Him being a badass, cutting shit up. Who else? Him versus Monet. I think that was one of my favorite fights. I mean, okay, not one of my favorite fights in the series, but one of my favorite Zoro moments was when he, without using Haki, against a Logia Devil Fruit user who was really ruthless. He was eating people, biting people's shoulders, just freezing people. Like, she was really not worth keeping alive. And he just casually, so casually, walked up and cut her without using Haki, which he damn sure did have the ability to use Haki. He cuts her, and just through sheer intimidation alone, she can't even pull herself together, literally, to stand up or to do anything again. The fight was over. He just cuts her and walks away like a fucking badass. God, he has all of the fucking badass moments. So, I hope you enjoyed me talking about the 5 reasons why I love Zoro. If you like Zoro, tell me why in the comments below. If it's anything different, tell me your favorite fights. Tell me what you think of him in the future. Is he gonna be? Of course, he's gonna be the best swordsman. Who else would be the best swordsman? You know, it's got to be Zoro. Is he gonna fight Mihawk? I don't know. I feel like Mihawk might be killed by somebody else. We'll talk about that another day. If you like this, subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends. We're just trying this YouTube thing out and getting started. I'll probably delete this later. You know, peace.